welcome back to WARFRAME. So, this is being recorded before the Vault video goes up. As, well, I'm doing a bit of saryn stuff. And I want to talk about saryn. I want to talk about the saryn update thingy that they are going to do. Because I'm ever so mildly worried about that. So yeah, here's me showing off the build I'm using. I think it's just the build Gopher uses, or mostly the build Gopher uses, maybe some changes to it. I don't exactly know, but yeah, this is what I use. Just lots of range, fair duration and a bit of power strength, and no energy, which, well, no efficiency, which makes me, well, I eat a lot of energy, but if I play it well, I don't use energy. Or at least I don't use that much energy. So yeah, here I'm going to go into an onslaught mission, and well, it doesn't work. Yep, the game is frozen again. So yeah, apparently Shadowplay still doesn't work. This is me going into a different mission, defense this time, which, oh no, interception it was.
Come on.
And apparently this is going away, this nice combo. Just cast mold and then cast your one on it. And yeah, I constantly run out of power, but yeah, this is apparently going away, that easy combo. Because
we have control of all 4 towers.
Well, they fear it's too much of a set it and forget it tactic, but to me it's much more of a tactic of, well, easily spreading the spores, easily getting it started. And another thing they are going to change, the spores now does viral damage. It does a viral tick. That's going to change to corrosive. I don't quite know how I feel about that, because, well, viral is useful against every class. There is no place where viral isn't useful, because viral halves the amount of health the enemy has, which is obviously extremely useful. It's going to change to corrosive, which in a lot of occasions is better, as that lowers the amount of armor the enemy has up to the point where they have no more armor. This is very useful, but only against the, well, mainly only against the Grineer and the, god, what do we call it, the Void? Yeah, I guess we just call it the Void. But yeah, these guys. Because there are a lot of units that have armor. The, whatever they're called, the Corpus and the Infestation, both don't really have a lot of armor, so there kind of isn't a, I mean, it makes it much less useful. And yeah, everybody here leaves, so I mean, doing this with 2 is pretty bloody hard. I think I actually do it after this on my own. That doesn't go very well, because then you need to control 4 towers on your own. That means a lot of spastically running around. And here is another problem I kind of have with the change to spores, because they're going to remove the duration. Okay, that's neat. And they're going to make it scale. Cool. Here's the problem though. That works great in missions where you have a constant barrage of enemies. I don't know, exterminates, survival, mainly survival probably.
These radio towers carry
Sanctuary
text and
onslaught, kind of.
interplanetary communications. You are going to capture the towers and decode
It's
incoming messages.
very unuseful
The
against...
Lotus is counting on us.
It's very unuseful against all the types of... Well, these types of maps, just
Beginning stream decode now.
the... what's it called? Interception. Things like interception don't get a big... Well, at the end of the wave you have to kill every enemy, meaning that then the scaling will stop, so... Yeah, and apparently you also can't cast it again, or at least you can't make more spores. Instead, casting it again will make these spores explode. I don't think that's a great way to do it. And here I die because fucking drone shoots me a lot. Yeah, these levels are somewhat high, and
Captured a radio tower.
Saryn all on her own doesn't work too well for that.
The
And yeah, I
enemy
know
has
that I'm
captured the
behind
tower.
the enemy with the
This tower is
what they're
ours
called,
now.
with the towers with the progress. But yeah, I don't think it's a great idea to...
Tower captured.
I don't think
Beginning
that way of
stream
doing
decode now.
spores is a great idea. I think it doesn't work with a lot of game modes. This isn't just a Nidus case of, oh, it doesn't work well with very long game modes, which could also become a problem, but I don't think it will be too big of a problem. But I think it has a problem with every type of game mode where you have to kill all the enemies in an area. Or, for instance, mobile defense. Then you have the sickness spreading around where you are, and then you can't just make more of them. Or, no, then you have to move to the next area. That sickness is still at the first area, so... Yeah, it
We have
sounds
taken
like
the
that
tower.
would
You must
not
recapture
work
it.
well. And yeah, this is basically how I play Saryn. Have spores everywhere and have gas clouds everywhere. And basically constantly have spores spreading around and do damage to everything everywhere. And it's a tactic that works pretty well. And if I am not alone in a map like this, it actually results in me generally doing the most amount of damage without getting shot a lot.
Control of all 4 towers.
Of course, most of the other changes I'm all for.
Tower
Toxic Lash
lost.
will no longer be just a melee ability, which doesn't really make a lot of sense with Saryn, who is not a strictly melee frame. Now, it will stay amazing with the with melee,
Tower lost.
but the boost will also be on every other weapon you use. So yeah, you can also use it with
You have
just
captured a
your
radio
primary
tower.
ore.
We have lost
It would add
control of the
100%,
tower.
or at least it would add a percentage of toxin damage to my already poisonous clouds. Yeah, that will be pretty bloody powerful. That will be fun.
This tower
And yeah, this bow is
ours
also
now.
pretty good against nullifiers. It's just overall a good weapon. And mold. It will function like a snow globe or iron
Taking
skin.
the tower.
the first couple seconds it will absorb all the damage and add it to its health. And after that it will just start taking damage. So the more damage the enemy does, the more health it will gain at the start, so the longer it will last. So that's neat.
We are in total control. Keep.
But yeah,
Enemy
it's
have captured a tower. Message
and
decoded. Leave none alive.
again the drone. It's that drone with a lot of constant firepower. That yeah, and this is the stage where I think that Saryn will be very weak, or well, if these spores constantly scale with every enemy that they infect, here you have to kill every enemy they infect, and basically resetting your resetting the scaling, which is just it wouldn't work very well.
But there are more messages to be decoded. You stay or go.
And yeah, I do not want to do more of this because, well, I only just did it and this was the first round, and oh good god. Interception on your own is bloody hard.
We have also disrupted their communications.
And Miasma, god, what did Miasma change to? I have it open here somewhere. Yeah, I'm very well prepared for this. It's better prepared than I would have been if I just did it in a normal video, and I completely forgot that this thing stops that my video player stops when I don't do stuff, so there probably is a video starting here somewhere again as I'm flying in right now.
The enemy is at our doorstep.
Yeah, I'm really good at this.
Until reinforcements arrive.
So, yes. I mean, I can just read out the changes. Spores now have infinite duration and escalating damage. What exactly does that mean? Essentially, spore duration is determined by the enemies affected. As long as enemies are dying to spores, they will spread. Sounds great. At the end of every wave of defense, you kill every enemy, meaning that there are no longer any enemies affected. This would be extremely... well, this would stop Saryn from ever scaling, so yeah, that's not a good thing. Mold. Mold has classically been a great tool for deception and distraction, especially when in a bind and in need of a quick escape to reposition. We want to retain this utility, but improve on it so that it offers more reliable and robust cover options. And apparently it's now also, it gives a speed boost, it absorbs some health, so that I'm all for. Toxic Lash. You've told us that having Toxic Lash limited to melee was too restrictive and was simply not compatible with a broader variety of playstyles. So we're sharing Toxin with a lot of your arsenal. It's a strange sentence to me. Even the first time I read it, it also didn't make any bloody sense. Toxic Lash Toxin damage buff in Saryn. This is now granted to any weapon in your loadout, primary, secondary and melee. In maintaining its roots, the damage buff on melee weapons is doubled. So yeah, that sounds all good to me. And apparently the toxic, the thing that will leave kills with a, god, what's it called? The Contagion Cloud opened. Kills with Toxic Lash will leave behind the Toxin Cloud, so also for all weapons. This will be extremely fun with something like well, this bow, which leaves Toxin Clouds already, and then Toxin Clouds will leave Toxin Clouds. That could be a lot of fun. And so yeah, the Toxic Lash also sounds really good. Miasma. We've taken what's great about Miasma, made it even better in the scope of Saryn 2.0 changes. Is this really 2.0? I mean, didn't we get 2.0 maybe a year ago? I mean, this is just changes on how she currently is. So, we start with Saryn 1.0, then, like 2 years ago... Was it really 2 years ago? I remember that being a big deal. If it is, then time really flies. But yeah, that would be... Well, it was still the same Saryn. It was still the same power, so I would call that a Saryn 1.1. And now these are changes on Saryn, on the changes to Saryn. So, going here, this is how I generally use, how I often do Saryn at least. Just take the, put my mold somewhere, put the clouds of my neutralist kernels over it, and then cast mold on it whenever enemies are around, and it will immediately pop all the spores and spread it around, so yeah. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so this is a change on the changes to Saryn, I think, so wouldn't that make it Saryn 1.1.1? Isn't that... I don't know how naming stuff is done, or 1.2, I don't know.
WARFRAME is strong.
I don't think calling this 2.0 would make a lot of sense.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting?
Well, it's just not all that... I like most of the changes, except the changes to Spore. Those, I think, can have some very bad consequences, and as that is for many now the main tool of Saryn, I don't think it's good to change that. Here's another thing I would like to talk about. Saryn? Really? You're going to rework Saryn? I mean, nothing against it, and these changes look great and all, but Saryn? Really? Saryn's fine. Saryn is already a great frame. She has her role set out. Do a lot of damage, halve the enemy's health, just kill stuff. She's really good at that already. Why on earth is Saryn getting an update? I mean, I can think of so many frames that would need an update. I'm an idiot again and I stopped the recording. Fuck. Yeah, this probably doesn't matter, or I'm not going to be able to talk about what exactly happens in the video, but it's not all that important, really. So, let's talk about the frames that need a rework. Ash. No, I think Ash is pretty good right now. He has a role to play. Do damage that can't be avoided, or with Seeking Shuriken just completely remove the armor of tough enemies. Atlas. Do you ever see an Atlas? I mean, he's very good at punching, but that's about it. He isn't really tanky enough for his role, but I guess he's fine. Banshee. I guess people like her. She can apparently be good. I can't see it, but oh well. It's just me. She's just too bloody flimsy for my taste. Chroma. Well, his buffs are too good, but I think that's been kind of died down a couple weeks, months, I don't know, back. Ember. She has a role as well. Equinox as well. Oh, there are actually more frames that are good. So let's skip to the first one that would need some bloody help. Korra. There are still a lot of people with problems with Korra. Limbo. Yeah, Limbo, I think he needs changes. he and Nyx both need changes, as they intrude too much into each other's work. Their kit is way too much the same. Well, it simply is problematic. It simply... What's Limbo's deal? Always be invisible, disarm enemies, and make enemies fight each other with his augments. What's Nyx's deal? Make enemies fight each other, and they all lose their weapons. Yeah, I think that Limbo needs to change, and that Saryn and that Nyx... I think that Loki needs to lose his irradiated disarm augment, and I think that Nyx needs to lose her disarming passive. The two intrude too much on each other's territory. It simply needs to change. And Oberon is, well, his 2 and his 3 are good. They are a nice boost to the entire team. Does anybody ever use his 1 or 4? They are simply very weak. Would be nice if they got some utility. And Vauban. Who on earth uses Vauban, and does he not need changes? I mean, what's his 1 good for? It does some shock, it does some electric damage.
Extraction is ready.
Enough to be even remotely interesting? I don't think so. His 2. I have never seen anyone use them. The only powers that the only powers I ever see a Vauban use is Bastille, because it's just a hard CC. And Wukong. Does anybody ever use Wukong? He doesn't have a role to play. He is useless. Nobody uses Wukong. Because there is no bloody reason to ever use Wukong. And, well, even compared to Saryn, there are so many more frames that need work. Just compared to Saryn, Ash would need work, Atlas would need work, Benji I think would need more work, Ember, Excalibur probably also, because, well, Excalibur is very powerful, he just has a tendency to die. Hydroid, people think he's boring. Inaros. Inaros is mostly in a good place. Have a look. Korra, Limbo. I mean, Limbo is good, but nobody ever uses him, which is probably something to look at. Mac, Mirage, Necros. Neja, maybe. I mean, Necros, his 1 and 2 are bloody useless. Mirage is in a pretty good place most of the time. Nyx, like I said, needs more work. Oberon also has 2 power that are useless. There is too much stuff there is just too much stuff that needs work. And really, Saryn? Saryn has been in a great place for ages. She did not need a rework. Maybe there's just a big Saryn fan at PE, which I could totally understand because she's great, but really? Saryn over any other frame? It's just very strange to me. And yeah, the video ended, so there's probably another video playing right now that I recorded later, which I'll cut off somewhere in the middle because, like I said, this is not exactly planned. So yeah, Saryn rework. Most of it looked good. Not a fan of what they are planning with spores. And well, why Saryn? Saryn's good. Saryn's in a great place. She doesn't need a bloody rework.
For the tenno.
So yeah, those are my thoughts. This has been Phoenix, saying farewell.